Before Rome, before Greece, there was this. On the island of Crete over 4,000 years ago, a civilization rose that stunned archaeologists, defied expectations, and vanished without a trace. They built palaces with hundreds of rooms. They engineered multi-story homes with running water, and their walls covered in bright, intricate art that has survived for millennia. This was the world of the Minoans, the first advanced civilization in Europe. And for the longest time, we had no idea they existed. The story begins in 1900, when British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans began digging at a site locals called Knossos. What he uncovered looked less like a ruin and more like a puzzle. Corridors, staircases, massive storerooms, and courtyards, all arranged in a maze-like layout. It was so complex, some believed it was the origin of the labyrinth myth, the one with the Minotaur.
Evans called this lost culture Minoan, after the mythical king Minos. But the truth? We still don't know what the Minoans actually called themselves.
The architecture of the Minoans was centuries ahead of its time. At Knossos and in other major centers like Phaistos and Malea, they constructed sprawling palaces with air shafts, light wells, and even toilets with flushing systems. They used a layout that optimized air circulation and daylight, concepts modern architects still praise today. And they didn't just build for function, they built for beauty. The walls were painted with vibrant frescoes, dolphins leaping through waves, young men vaulting over bulls, women in flowing dresses with braided hair, scenes of life, nature, ritual. No war, no conquest. That's what sets the Minoans apart. They left behind no monumental statues of generals, no glorified battle scenes, and almost no weapons in their homes or graves. A palace culture without a fortress. To this day, scholars debate whether the Minoans were truly peaceful or if their dominance simply came from economic power and naval control, not military might. But compared to their contemporaries in Egypt and Mesopotamia, the absence of militarism is striking. And then, they vanished. Around 1450 BCE, Minoan cities were abandoned, palaces burned, the art stopped, the writing, known as Linear A, ceased, and with it, their voice was lost. One theory points to a volcanic eruption on the nearby island of Thera, modern-day Santorini. The explosion would have triggered tsunamis, ashfall, and economic collapse, weakening the Minoans beyond recovery. Shortly after, the Mycenaeans from mainland Greece moved in and took over. But even then, some believe the Minoans' story didn't end. Plato, writing centuries later, described an advanced island civilization that fell in a single day, destroyed by natural disaster. A utopia, rich in art and trade. He called it Atlantis. And while there's no proof, some argue he was describing what little was remembered of the Minoans, filtered through myth. The Minoans weren't just Europe's first great civilization. They were cleaner, more artistic, and possibly more peaceful than any that followed. But without armies, without conquests, without glory carved into stone, they were forgotten. History favors the loud, but sometimes the most advanced societies are the ones that leave behind only silence.